Hello, my friend. If you're here, then that means you may be interested in what I've been doing with my life for the past 2 months with my family on our epic road trip. I wanted to do this for you and also for me as a record of all of the fantastic memories we made over the summer. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you're still here for that, if you're all about that, hang tight. We're getting into it right now. Starting off, this is our map of what we intended to do on our trip. We did add quite a few spots, but overall it stayed pretty much like this. We're gonna go ahead and just do June for today, and then I'll do a slideshow for July and for August as well. So this is actually going to be the shortest one of all of them. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So this is my husband the day he bought the adventure van. Isn't he so adorable? And that was the inside of the van. I do have a video that shows a tour of the inside of the van after it was completely done, but here are just a few progress pictures and photos of the inside of the van, and this was our home for 2 months. And just a little shot because people ask me how the kids sleep and where the kids sleep, so that is the driver and passenger seat area. All right, we embarked on our trip on June 24th, and there's my son and our dog Sam who came with us. He is a Brittany, which is kind of a spaniel-y kind of breed. And I want to introduce you to Dylan. That is my son's goblin that we had decided we were going to take pictures of Dylan all over the United States. We take some pictures for a while, but then Dylan, he just decided he didn't want to do it anymore. So for a little while, you're going to see pictures of Dylan in different places. This was our first stop, which was a West Virginia Welcome Center. And this was our first meal in the van. I cooked most of our meals in my Instant Pot, and I had never used it once before we left. This was, I believe, some kind of chicken artichoke something or another, but it was good. It was really good. And my dog, for some reason, was insisting on sitting with me. So that's my dog sitting behind me while I was trying to eat. Next day, our big adventure was at COSI in Columbus, Ohio. It's a children's museum. And if you don't know this about me, I love dinosaurs. So anytime I get around any kind of dinosaur bones or replica bones, I get very excited. They have a lot of cool activities at COSI. This was one where you work with a power grid. And then this one was about energy saving as far as cars. This was another energy thing where one kid was on a bike, another kid was running, and they had to race through a neighborhood. It was kind of cute. And of course, this was having to do with static electricity, and John was very excited to put his hand on the ball and have his hair raise up everywhere, his long hair. John's 7, by the way, and Lila, my daughter, is 10. He was only 6 here, though. He turned 7 in July while we were gone. And this is John climbing down into a submarine, and that's the submarine. And this was really cool. It was like this glass dome that you could climb into to make you look like you were underwater, which was super cool. This was them inside a submarine. They had a video screen so you could like look inside and watch what they were doing. And that's Poseidon. That was in this wet water area. Lila really likes the Percy Jackson books, so that was cool that she got to like stand with Poseidon. And John is really a big fan of cause and effect, so this was really cool where they got to build some kind of paper or contraption. They had a bunch of different materials and then they put them in these wind tunnels to see what would happen. So of course, the heavier it was, it didn't fly as high, so it kind of taught them physics. It was really neat. And there's Lila trying out hers that she made. I thought it was cool. It looked like a little fairy.
All right, go ahead, put it on again. Try again. The little elf fairy.
This was something where you had to figure out the right order to step in order to make it go in the notes, the correct notes. It was cool. Lila loves that stuff.
Yeah, you did it.
This was really cool too. So what you could do is you put these soft balls into this tube, and then you'd crank and they would fly out and go into this like chain reaction kind of thing. It was really neat. Kids really loved it. And there's John being silly with a bunch of balls in his shirt. He's just a goofball. And this was a unicycle that you could ride over top of the museum. And Lila was absolutely terrified to go on it. She was kind of freaking out because she wanted to go on it, but she was scared to go on it, but she wanted to go on it, but she was scared to go on it. And she finally got on it. She waited in line for about half an hour. She got on it and she had fun and she really liked it. So she made it across and back and she was fine and she was glad that she did it. And of course, pictures of Dylan outside of Cosi. There's a really cool water feature outside of Cosi, so the kids played in a little bit. That night, we got back to driving to Noblesville, Indiana, and I got to meet up with Rosangela, who is a subscriber of mine that I met at a meetup 2 years ago. So when our car got broken into while we were in the meetup, Rosangela and her husband invited us over to their restaurant for dinner, and it was incredible. And then they helped us to get a hotel. I mean, they were so kind to us. So as we passed through Noblesville, we wanted to stop by and spend some time with them and go and buy some food at their restaurant. And it was a delicious meal. So if you're ever in Noblesville, definitely go over to Matteo's and have some excellent, fantastic, amazing Italian food. So next morning, one of our usual stops, well, second time we've done this, stopping at the Dragon in Vandalia, Illinois. And this is a Dragon where you go across the street from the Dragon to the liquor store and you get a little token for $1 and then you put it in and the Dragon breathes fire for about 10-15 seconds, and it's really fun and the kids love it, and it's just a stop off the highway. So if you're ever driving by there, definitely recommend that. My husband is squishing my dog's face. He's so tolerant. It's very cute. So the next stop was one that was really important to me that I wanted to experience and also have my children experience, the Brown versus Board of Education Museum that takes place in the, quote, colored school. That's what they call it because that's what they called it back then. And it was a very emotional experience for me as a former teacher because I feel like that was a huge turning point in education for the better and didn't fix everything. By far did not fix everything, but it was a step in the right direction. So it just meant a lot to me to be there in that school where all of these things were so critical and important. If you don't know the Brown versus Board of Education decision, it was the decision that helped to integrate public schools for people of color and white people. Must not have done anything on the 27th because I have no pictures, but on the 28th, we ended up in Colorado, which was our first major stop. And we stopped first at the Garden of the Gods, and it is absolutely gorgeous. If you like outdoor scenery, it is really, really just majestically beautiful. So we went on a little hike through the Garden of the Gods. It was fun. And there's all of us by the van at Garden of the Gods. Our next stop was the Manitou Cliff Dwellings. These things were so cool. The people had carved in the rock these houses, and it was amazing because it was warm outside, but it was nice and cool inside. And the plaques inside were very interesting, just describing what their life was like and how they dealt with death in the wintertime and how many families slept in the rooms. And it was just really, really interesting. And you could touch anything, and the kids really had fun climbing through the different rooms. That is my handsome husband. Oh my goodness. I love this picture of him. And of course, John with Dylan. June 29th, on to the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. And this was a really, really cool zoo where they, the first experience that you do is you pay a couple of dollars to get a handful of romaine lettuce and the kids get to feed the giraffes. And they just had so much fun, you know, seeing these big tongues hanging out. Giraffes have really long tongues. I had no idea. They're amazing animals and have made me fall in love with giraffes. Later on, at the very end of the trip, I fell in love with giraffes even more, but they're really cool animals. Lila especially just loves animals, so that was a really great experience for her. This was just a picture from a part of the mountain zoo where it's just very scenic and it was very bright, so Lila's got her eyes closed. But you get to kind of look out over all of Colorado Springs. And here are just some pictures of some of the animals that we saw there. This little guy was really cute. I thought he was adorable. They had peacocks just kind of roaming around the property. It was really neat. And the kids love farm animals, so they were walking around petting the chickens and having fun. And my daughter Lila loves goats. Her and her friend Parker are just all about goats for whatever reason. So she was very excited to see the goats, and we had to take some pictures of the kids with the goats for Parker and text them to him. And there is a sloth. We actually, at the second zoo, we only went to 2 zoos, but the second zoo we go to, that's where we actually get to meet a sloth. That's gonna come in the August video. This is the mama and the baby. They are so cute. Oh my goodness. Just cuddling and feeding and all this stuff. It was adorable. And of course, John with Dylan. Last day of June, we did the 7 Bridges Trail in Colorado Springs, and we got our water packs on and our snacks and headed out onto quite a long trail. And as you go, you do, of course, see 7 bridges. And it was fun, you know, as we walked, finding the next bridge. Oh, there's the next bridge. There's the next bridge. It was cool. And of course, we had to bring Sam because, you know, he loves hikes. He loves walks. He loves walking through the water and, you know, going and smelling all the smells and things. He had a blast. That was our snack break. We were eating gummies. And that's one of the bridges. I'm not sure which one. I think that was pretty early on, though. And Lila on the bridge. I just thought that was a pretty shot. Family walking on the trail. Underneath one of the bridges. And I took this cool little video because I just thought it was so gorgeous out there. It was so peaceful and beautiful, and I wanted to take a video of it, so I did. And one of the rare shots of me from my camera. And that night we drove a little bit and we ended up in Alma, Colorado, which is a little old mining town. There was like a little parking lot off the side of the road where you could park. I think it was like up to 7 days or something crazy like that. And it had this beautiful view out the back. So we opened up the back of the van and we were playing cards and we ate dinner, and it was a beautiful, beautiful location. So that is it for June. Next week, I hopefully will have one for you for July. That's the plan, is to have one for you. Same bat time, same bat channel. The plan is to have another video for you next Saturday. Here are some preview pictures of what's coming up for next Saturday. And hopefully, if you enjoyed this one, you'll tune in because the best of the trip is definitely yet to come. Thank you for watching. Mad love to you, and I will see you in a video very, very soon.